by the way? I still want to wonder, why is he by himself?
He was back in studio week 1, and then now he's back being
What's wrong with him?
Team.
Jimmy, come on. What's wrong with him?
That's my comment for the weekend. Just freshen up these teams. Give us somebody.
Well, and Greg Gumbel, who's 71, 2 years old, is like this B team calling games, not in studio. I thought he only did the Final Four when they propped him up. So it does get kind of rough.
I will agree with you that the announced team for the Bears-Bengals game, and again, props to Mark Sanchez. Mark Sanchez had some really interesting points where I know they didn't really go back to him, where he pointed out on the one breakup on third and 4, where the Bears defenders were able to break up a pass. He still pointed out that Roquan, he needs to watch out for there was a wheel route that could have been ran by Mixon up the sideline. That could have been a big game.
Sanchez is good. I like him.
Yeah, so I thought it. But also to touch on what Lug said, look, I enjoy it to some degree, but the joke of Terry Bradshaw not being able to say names, doing highlights at halftime, all right, it's over. I mean, it's amusing like once or twice, but like the man can't say anyone's name in the league at all. No. I mean, and I've enjoyed Bradshaw, but Howie Long playing just a lump with a flat top.
And can't turn his head because his neck's so bad.
Look, Howie Long is probably a very nice man, but I said, just to kind of build off of what you said, Lugs, I said that CBS's pregame show, it's Jim Brown and like essentially 4 Howie Longs. That's why no one watches that one. I'm not saying that Foxes sometimes can't be a train wreck.
I agree.
But at least Strahan and Bradshaw and Jimmy Johnson have charisma and can be entertaining.
Yeah, Strahan's worth watching.
Yeah.
But you can tell they actually like each other.
Yeah.
The boys on CBS.
Coach Cowher. Oh, come on.
I mean, well, it seems and Boomer for me, they seem to be like just hate each other,
What's funny is they're actually friends, but
are they?
Supposedly they're friends. Yeah.
That Boomer does look down his nose just a little bit, doesn't he? Just
condescension, baby.
Un poquito.
It's like, I'm going to tell you this. You won't be able to understand it, but I'm going to tell you. I'll try to simplify it. Here, let me break it down into one-syllable words.
Oh, I love it.
You know who they really miss? They really miss Sterling Sharp. That's who they really miss. That was their spark. Or not Sterling Sharp, Shannon Sharp.
Now he's on FX1. Yeah.
And then we can move on to college football. I just got to say real quick.
Yeah.
Do you all remember when he brought up, I forget which quarterback he was bringing up, but he's like, he doesn't want to be a guy who never won the big one like Dan Marino. And this is when Dan Marino was still on the pregame show. And the look Dan Marino gave him was he wanted to kill him and put him in a dumpster.
Oh, that's very funny.
ASAP. So that's why they need Shannon Sharp back. I don't know how much he costs. Pay the man.
Get him and Steve Largent together. Well, maybe that might make it. They're younger anyway by a couple of years anyhow.
My favorite moments, though, just the interchanges between the on-air people. Romo puts your boy on the spot moment after moment. He goes, so, Jimmy, would you go for it here? And Nance will, the coaches considering it very much. And Romo goes, that's not an answer.
Nance doesn't play that, right? He just calls the play-by-play. Hello, friends. I mean, that's all he does. That's it. That's all he's got.
But I love it. Romo just keeps needling him. So
too many Corona Light commercials for Tony, I think.
Oh yeah, and he doesn't care, man.
No,
He'll tell you what's going to happen, and he doesn't care. It's like
he got his paycheck. That's all he cares about.
Oh yeah, no, he plays a little golf and does a little football. What the heck?
16 weeks a year, 17 now. That's it.
I guess we should move on to
college football. Okay, what do you like? Talk about it.
The most interesting game for me was the Alabama-Georgia game. I thought Georgia was better. I thought Alabama would win. It was interesting to see Bryce look nervous. I mean, he looked nervous and probably should have. That's a lot of people screaming at you. That was a good game. I also thought that Penn State Auburn game was one of those games that just they need to do that every year.
That visual Happy Valley with everybody in white is crazy, isn't it? Isn't that one of the craziest scenes of college football? Honestly, the whiteout.
Those were my two sort of moments that stuck out for me.
Mm-hmm. I can't believe those stands haven't collapsed there at Beaver Stadium, with those people jumping up and down, waving their white. Wow. Anyway, go ahead, T-Dog.
I'll just kind of echo what Lug said. Florida, I mean, they got down fairly deep to Alabama, and just for them to come back and almost pull it off, just unfortunately where they could have tied it, that 2-point play, I don't know what was supposed to go on. Obviously, at the mesh point between Jones and the running back, it felt like both of them wanted to run it in, and neither one would let go of the ball, and they both got hit to
negate it. Embarrassing.
But it also makes you think if Richardson was healthy, their other quarterback, and Jones is athletic, obviously, but if Richardson was there, I mean, maybe Florida wins that game.
It's possible. Yeah.
So I find that interesting. Obviously, kind of like the Clemson. Luckily their defense has been ferocious because offensively they
non-existent.
Yeah, Uwe Ungolele.
Gesundheit.
Yeah,
he's
yes.
I'm not putting it all on him, but man, he's not really looked like the guy we kind of saw flashes of last year against the Notre Dame in the loss. So I don't know if it's just him or if it's the offensive line has changed that much, or just since some of the playmakers left, like he's not feeling as comfortable. I don't know, but it's concerning. I mean, I don't know if they even get back into the college playoffs. I mean, I doubt it with the way they're looking. I thought Georgia, I mean, with how vulnerable Alabama looked at Georgia, not that I didn't take them seriously, but like the way they just completely crush the spirit and soul of South Carolina, I think they could legitimately win the SEC against Alabama.
The crush.
Just because their defense is easily, besides Clemson, it's easily the one that looks, when you watch it, like, yes, that's the elite defense in college. And JT Daniels, he's making enough plays where they're not just pound the ball. They at least have some aerial assault, which has always been the death nail to me about Kirby Smart's, like, few really good runs at Georgia is just they've been too old school in their offensive philosophy. So kind of similar to Clemson, Oklahoma, like getting taken down to the wire by Nebraska, who has looked pretty bad. Lost to Illinois week 0.
Right, week 0.
So, I mean, Oklahoma, I mean, are we supposed to really buy into them?
Don't know. Sooner,
UCLA doing what Pac-12 teams does, has an impressive win against LSU week 1, and then they lose to Fresno State.
Cough up a fur ball.
That was just nasty.
It's, just kind of goes back to what we always say about Pac-12. It's not the Pac-12 don't have good they don't have good teams. They always just find the banana peel. They're the one league that consistently finds the banana peel.
How about our local boys here?
They won by 21, but again, Ohio State, running theme, their defense. Yeah. I mean, when they go up against an Uber team, I don't know. I don't know what Ohio State's going to be. Obviously they already played an Uber team in Oregon and they lost.
The Cincinnati Indiana game kind of surprised me. Just the fact that Cincinnati loses a quarterback and a guy comes in and takes that victory. Indiana should have won that game. I just don't see. T-Dog, you're more in the know of those guys. I mean, Penix, is something wrong?
Well, yeah, he's just hasn't played well. I mean, he didn't even play well in their win against Idaho. It's not that he played awful against Idaho. They didn't ask him to do anything, which after how mediocre he looked against Iowa, I'm not even saying, like, it felt like they would have thrown the ball a little bit more just to try to build up his confidence. And they really didn't. I think he threw 3 touchdowns against Idaho, but he threw for only like 68 yards in that game.
I'm telling you, write it down. Cincinnati's going to break the glass ceiling and get in the Final Four.
Well, if you watch that game, I mean, I was at that game, and they didn't do anything on offense. Cincinnati didn't do anything on offense. IU was up 14-0 with essentially a little over or under 3 minutes to go. And on the third down, they stopped Cincinnati. But unfortunately, there was a targeting call on Michael McFadden, who is their All-American for IU, their linebacker, and he's essentially their captain. And right after that, you look at what Cincinnati did on offense up to that point, because it was essentially a half of the game. They had 1 first down up to that point. After he went out, they scored a touchdown on that drive, and they proceeded to score 31 points on offense. 1 was on a kick return. And the sad thing is, IU should have won that game. It came down to, I mean, losing McFadden was huge. I mean, I'm not saying the targeting call was wrong. I mean, you hate to have a guy get ejected, but again, it's they've had the rule in place for a while. He made contact with his face with his helmet. So it's an ejectable offense based on what the rule is. So I'm not saying that was horse, but if Penix just didn't turn the ball over, Cincinnati only had 2 turnovers. IU had 4. It was a -2, and the score was a difference of 14 points. But really, if again, Penix has played poorly, and that's been the big difference from IU of last year to this year. Is just he doesn't look confident.
Crisp.
Yeah, he doesn't look like he's confident in anything he does. I don't know if it's his leg. I don't know if it's mental or if it's a combination of both. And also, he had X-rays after the game. I don't know what the status is after that. He looked like at one point he was holding part of his arm during the game. So I don't know specifically, but that's been their big thing. And it's not going to get easier. You look at their
right.
You look at their schedule. I mean, they play Western Kentucky. They should win that game. But after that, they play Penn State. They play Ohio State. They play Michigan State. They play Michigan.
Yep.
They play Minnesota, Rutgers, and Purdue.
Tough.
So, I mean, some of those games they should win. But the way Michigan State has looked, obviously I don't think they're beating Ohio State. The way Penn State has looked, and also after last year what happened against IU, I think Penn State's not going to lose against IU. So it's going to be tough for them to be bowl eligible. I will say that going forward.
Okay, one of the big plays of the week to me was the pick 6 Louisville got on UCF in the final 13 seconds of the game. What was UCF thinking? What were they thinking?
That was a gift.
What were they throwing the ball for?
Outright gift right there.
I mean, what are they thinking?
But you got to give it to them. The Cards hung tough after being lambasted for basically very mediocre play mostly. But I'm glad to see those guys get a win. That was, it gets them a little relief for a moment. Because let's be honest, you go out there, you practice 7 days a week, beating the hell out of each other, whatever. That's work. You don't go out there to do that to lose. You do not. So I'm just happy for those kids. Some of that hard work paid off.
And some of the flames are off the hot seat maybe for Satterfield, just a few. They turned the gas burner down a little bit.
Yeah, okay. Okay, I hope you're right.
Well, I mean, I really think so, because I mean they're 2-1 right now, and their next 2 games are Florida State, Wake Forest, and Florida State currently is 0-3. And, Wake Forest, I'm not saying it's a gimme, but I just think